What's up? And welcome to Rev 1211 Life. I have a quick question for you. Uh, are you a copycat? Yes, are you a copycat? As we walk through Paul's prison epistles in Ephesians, we're in chapter 5, and I'm going to read those verses 1 and 2. He says, "Therefore, be imitators of God and as dear children, and walk in love as Christ also has loved us and given himself for us, an offering and sacrifice to God for a sweet smelling aroma." And I think about that and I'm like, okay, we're supposed to be copycats, imitators. As you read, as I look further and I'm thinking, I looked at the Greek in that word and it's like uh, mimic te, mimic. And that's really where we get the English word mimic from. So it's actually asking us to mimic God. See, because a lot of times we read that and we say, well, it's the imitators of God. We're going to be follow God. But there's a difference between the following and imitating. It's like I can ask you, be in a room with you and ask you to follow me. And you'll may follow me out of the room. But to imitate me would be, speaking like me, dress like me, uh, start doing mannerisms like me. That's imitating and acting like me. So that's what that would mean. So that when he says imitate him, he said not just to follow him, to imitate. Uh, when Jesus met the disciples, each one that he came across, he at first asked them to follow him. And then as they learned and they grew in maturity, he then commanded them to imitate me, to be like me. So keep that in mind. There's a big difference. And as we imitate him, we're not supposed to be acting like the disciples. He had them do certain things that he's not asking us to do. So we're to be imitators of Christ, not imitators of the disciples. And so let's make sure we keep the main thing the main thing. So a lot of times when we talk about following a person, that's nothing like imitating them. So there are some things that we can that are transferred to us from God. There are things that are not. There's at least three that are not. When we become believers, we're not omnipotent, omniscient. We're not omnipotent, and we're certainly not omnipresent. We can't be everywhere. So those are three things that can't. But what he does talk about is in chapter 4, he says, and we can be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as Christ forgave you. And so we can do those things. We can imitate those things. Gifts of the Spirit, fruit of the Spirit. Yeah, we can do all that and we can imitate Christ. So, my thing is this: oftentimes we find ourselves imitating people that we shouldn't even be imitating. We imitate people in the music business. We imitate business leaders. We imitate athletes. We do all this imitation of people that have really nothing to do with your eternity, have nothing to do with your spiritual growth. We'll even fight for those people, argue about it. We do it all the time on Facebook, social media. People we don't even know, but we're trying to imitate them and we'll defend them. But he's asking us here to imitate Christ, a real leader who we should be imitating. So I'm just going to encourage you today, and I'm going to ask you, who are you imitating? Who are you trying to be like today? Are you trying to be like the Christ that gave you life, the new life, as Paul's talking to the Ephesians about? He's giving you new life. Or are we still chasing and imitating people that really have no significance on who you are and what you're about? So, guys, remember that. He says, therefore, as a believer, be imitators of God as dear children. So we're imitators of God through Jesus Christ, who reconciled us to God. So we're to be more, even more and more, like I said, like God. I didn't say be God or you are a God, because that's false teaching. I'm asking you to imitate God. That's the goal. So keep that in mind today as you put idols in front of God and chase after things that really ultimately are not going to matter in life. And be imitators of God. So take that with you today. I hope you learned something. I'm learning something as I go through Locked Up in the Word. So have a wonderful day, guys. Stay in your Word. Read Ephesians. Read, get into the Word. And take care of yourselves. And Lord willing, be back tomorrow, man. We'll hit on a little bit more of chapter 5 of Locked Up in the Word on Rev 1211 Life. Take care. God bless you.